Wage negotiations between the Ministry of Finance and public sector trade unions are off to a rocky start following the government's submission of a counteroffer that unions say falls significantly short of expectations. The Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions had submitted its 2025-2027 wage and fringe benefits claim last November, proposing a 15% salary increase in the first year and 10% in the second. However, in its response last Thursday, the Finance Ministry proposed a 4-year contract instead, offering no salary increase in the first year, followed by 2.5% increases in each of the following 3 years, amounting to a total increase of just 7.5% over 4 years. In a letter sent to Finance Minister Favour Williams on Friday, the offer was strongly rejected by the JCTU. JCTU President St. Patrice Ennis told Radio Jamaica News that union members were deeply dissatisfied and have requested an urgent meeting with the minister. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has announced the completion of the process to repeal and replace the decades-old Tourist Board Act, bringing Jamaica's tourism legislation in line with modern standards. Speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, Minister Bartlett said the new act introduces updated provisions that reflect current realities in the tourism sector and strengthen enforcement measures to protect Jamaica's reputation for high-quality visitor experiences.
We have to respond to the innovation of our time. So many changes have taken place over the last 70 years. So many new experiences have emerged. So many new systems have emerged. So many new practices too, and so many new business models. And we need to step up now and to provide the legislative and regulatory arrangements to be able to facilitate these developments, to expand these developments, and to provide scope for further innovation and development.
He notes that significant shifts in tourism practices, systems, and business models over the last 70 years have made the existing legislation outdated.
In this context, the ministry continues to work diligently to prioritize its legislative agenda for the year 25-26. And we are looking at strengthening our regulatory framework to modernize our operation and to ensure that our tourism sector continues to thrive in an ever-changing global environment that demands adaptivity and innovation.
The new Tourist Board Act will also repeal the River Rafting Act, transferring regulatory and operational oversight of river rafting to the Jamaica Tourist Board. The Tourism Minister, Edmund Bartlett, continued to share information about the ongoing developments in the sector at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief.
We're at the point where the ratio of visitors to the local is 1-to-1. And that is an inflection point that we've reached. And so we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot now from the heavy reliance on the all-inclusives that we've had in the past to luxury tourism. And already we have 6 mega developments that are coming on stream or already on stream that is going to respond fully to that pivot.
Nearly 20,000 young Jamaicans are gaining valuable work experience this summer through the government employment programs. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the announcement at the launch of the Youth Summer Employment Program in downtown Kingston on Tuesday, urging participants to seize the opportunity to build character, discipline, and job readiness. Denita Rodney tells us more.
Organized by the Ministry of Local Government, the Youth Summer Employment Program aims to empower young people through practical experience and financial independence, laying the groundwork for Jamaica's future workforce. Speaking at the launch, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says thousands of young Jamaicans are being employed this summer through various government programs as part of a broad push to create meaningful youth job opportunities.
Now, the Minister of Local Government has explained that this year's program involves 10,000 youth being employed. But that is not the extent of the government's summer employment program. There is a cohort of youngsters being employed through HEART. I don't have those numbers with me, but I'm certain it is in the thousands. And of course, today is not their day. I know MSET, the Ministry of Energy, Science, and Transportation now, also has a special program. But right across the government, all ministries have their own little program.
Prime Minister Holness is encouraging participants to view the experience as more than just a summer job, but a stepping stone to success.
The value of the experience is what you should appreciate and take away with you. That experience, it is going to make you a better person, a more knowledgeable person, a more rounded person, a more prepared person, and it is going to give you the edge in the world of work over others who would not have the similar experience.
He also urged youth to take a positive outlook on life and stay focused on long-term growth.
So, as I have this lovely gathering of young people, I appeal to you to take a positive view on life. Don't follow those persons who all they do is spew negative, try to ride and stir up discontent, and then make promises to you that makes no sense and cannot be fulfilled. Right? Be positive about your future. Take a positive view. Take a pro-social view on life, not an anti-social view on life. And then I want you to take a pro-growth view on life.
Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, noted that participants between the ages of 16 and 29 will receive a weekly tax-free stipend of $17,000 for 4 weeks. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Denita Rodney.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the government is committed to transforming communities and improving the housing and living conditions of Jamaicans. His remarks comes as construction begins on Village at Tower Hill, social housing project in St. Andrew West Central. Dr. Holness led the contract signing and groundbreaking ceremony at the site on the weekend. Construction is set to begin soon on the multi-family residence featuring 6 housing units, which will provide housing for 13 residents by December 2025. In his address, Prime Minister Holness stated that upon completion, the 6 families previously living in substandard conditions will be relocated to modern apartments.
You know, some people just have one room here, then another room here, then another room there, and there is just one bathroom that everybody shares. Sometimes you go into some of these houses, these yards, and the children are all over the place. Sometimes you see the sewage running in the yard, and it is really an uncomfortable situation.
He explains that some people will succeed despite their living circumstances, but not everyone will do so.
The big yard situation is not ideal. The tenement yard is in our history, our culture, as, you know, part of the challenges that we face as a people. And if we want to transform communities, one of the main ways of transforming a community is to transform the living conditions of the people.
Noting the various infrastructural changes in the Tower Hill community over the years, Dr. Holness says improving people's living conditions can be linked to the decrease in crime.
Today, as I speak to you, we are 44.3% less murders today than we were last year. This time, the murders have gone down.
He adds that the government's investment in crime fighting, including the recent launch of a state-of-the-art forensic lab, will significantly improve the security forces' crime fighting strategies.
So you think you commit a crime and you're gone? We now have the technology to find you and identify you. So let me say it again for all the young men listening. Do not get drawn into crime. Let me say it again for all the dons who believe that they are above the law. Let me say it again. Find something else to do.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin reported that as of May 2025, the point-to-point inflation rate was 5.2%. That is 0.1 percentage points lower than the 5.3% recorded between April 2024 to April 2025. The main contributors to this were the divisions: food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels, and restaurants and accommodation services. Of note, in the sector, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels division was mainly driven by an 8.2% rise in the imputed rentals for housing group and a 6.4% increase in the electricity, gas and other fuels group. These increases were due to higher household rent and electricity rates, respectively. For the trading period ending June 17, 2025, these are the most actively traded stocks. Toll Road Manager Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 6,665,926 units traded, representing 42.53% of market sales volume. Energy Company Innovative Energy Group Limited with 1,043,114 units traded, representing 6.65% of market sales volume. Private Financing Company MFS Capital Partners Limited with 740,113 units traded, representing 4.72% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On June 17, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $44.04 million purchased and US $62.94 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.28 per dollar, selling the US at $160.01 and buying the US at $158.73. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders 70 cents per transaction, with selling at $117.97 and buying at $117.27. The British pound yielded Forex traders $1.60 in profits, with selling at $215.18 and buying at $213.58. For our credit report tip of the day, if you're a founder serious about securing investment and accelerating your business growth, it's time to take control of your credit score. Don't wait for investors to come to you. Proactively strengthen your credit and position yourself as a reliable, financially savvy leader investors want to back. Your credit isn't just a number, it's a powerful tool that can unlock funding, build investor confidence, and open doors to opportunities you might have been missing right now. For example, your credit score boosts your startup valuation. Investors may value your business higher if you have a strong credit. Plus, your credit score reduces collateral requirements. Lenders may require less collateral from founders with good credit. And given that running a business is a team sport, in addition to your credit score, getting pitch coaching will help you craft compelling, concise pitches that resonate with investors and highlight your financial strengths.
Thanks, Denise. Over now to regional news. Grenada has emerged as the only Eastern Caribbean nation with a citizenship by investment program that was not named in a leaked U.S. State Department memo proposing new visa restrictions. The memo, signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, flags 5 other OECS nations for review, raising serious questions about the future of their CBI programs and why Grenada stands apart. Beverly Telesford has the details.
Grenada is the only Eastern Caribbean nation with an active citizenship by investment or CBI program that was not named in a leaked U.S. State Department memo proposing possible new visa restrictions. According to the Washington Post, the memo, signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and circulated to U.S. diplomatic missions over the weekend, identifies Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia among 36 countries under review. The document reveals that the Trump administration is considering visa bans or other travel restrictions for countries offering CBI programs, citing concerns over the sale of citizenship without residency requirements and isolated reports of anti-American activity by some passport holders. Despite long-standing claims by Caribbean governments that their programs are development tools with strong due diligence and security protocols, the memo gives listed nations 60 days to meet new benchmarks. An initial action plan must be submitted by 8 a.m. on Wednesday. While the memo raises serious concerns, it also leaves the door open for diplomacy. Countries that agree to repatriate third country nationals removed from the U.S. or enter safe third country agreements may find more favorable terms. Grenada's exclusion remains unexplained, though analysts point to its unique position as the only Caribbean CBI country with an E2 treaty, allowing its citizens to apply for long-term investor visas to the U.S., as noted by Investment Migration Insider. The memo also names 25 African countries, along with several in Central Asia and the Pacific. It follows a June 4th presidential proclamation enacting full travel bans on 12 nations, including Afghanistan, Iran, and Libya, and partial restrictions on 7 others, such as Cuba and Venezuela. The White House has not issued a formal response. The leaked memo comes just over a month after OECS heads of government and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met for high-level talks to address a range of critical regional issues, including migration and security concerns. Attempts have been made to contact Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Andal, as well as Press Secretary Nila Etienne, for a response to the leaked memo and an explanation as to why Grenada remains in the clear and under what circumstances. However, neither could be reached on Monday. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
In the face of escalating global crises, from climate shocks to armed conflict and fractured alliances, the call for reform of international cooperation is growing louder. At a recent diplomatic dialogue hosted by the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, France's ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago stressed that global multilateralism is in urgent need of revitalization. The event brought diplomats, academics, and students together to examine how international systems must evolve to meet today's complex challenges. Jason John reports.
In response to global climate shock, armed conflicts, and fractured alliances, the University of the West Indies St. Augustine's Institute of International Relations, IIR, hosted a diplomatic dialogue series focused on multilateralism in the face of current major global crises. In his address, the ambassador of France to Trinidad and Tobago, Didier Chabet, emphasized the urgent need to revitalize and reform global multilateralism, noting its effectiveness has never been more critical than it is today.
Why would wealthier states give a lesson to fragile states by explaining that they should respect the climate and therefore forget even economic development opportunities? It's not acceptable. It's not audible. We must therefore build an agenda that at the same time allows us to move forward in the fight against inequality and economic development for education, climate, biodiversity, and global health.
He said France proposed reform which aimed to fundamentally change the structure and operational rules of the United Nations Security Council, particularly through the expansion of its permanent membership, allotting 2 permanent seats to African countries.
France, together with Mexico, is proposing that in the event of mass atrocities such as genocide or large-scale war crimes, permanent members voluntarily relinquish their right of veto. This is a political proposal, not legally binding, but supported by over 100 of states.
According to Acting Director of the IIR, Dr. Dave Siratan, the Institute continues to be overwhelmed by various stakeholders from TNT and the region on issues relating to multilateralism as traditional alliances and arrangements are dismantled.
The solution to these problems is a genuine effort by the international community to recognize the flaws in the system and to begin the difficult process of comprehensive reform of the multilateral processes and institutions.
The discussions were held on Monday at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus and attended by members of the Diplomatic Corps, the university and secondary school students. Jason John, TTT News.
In sports, we start in the ring with boxing. Jamaica Boxing Association President Stephen Bomber Jones launched the first Ray and Nephew Fight Night for 2025 on Tuesday at Track and Records Marketplace on Compton Spring Road. The first night of the series will be held on June 28th with 8 amateur face-offs and 2 professional matches. The president says the boxing competition represents an important platform for the association and its boxers.
You've heard us speak a lot about the programs that we have, but the pipeline that we've been building on, coming from the grassroots to our national program. We know that we've put it out there that 2028 we will have boxers in the Olympics. We do have some of our more talented elite boxers here that will be taking place, that will be showcased on the fight card next week. And we want to make sure that our boxers from the fight nights are the ones that you have an idea of who will be representing us on the international stage, on the amateur level, but also we have the young professionals, the pro boxers that can be the next Mike McCallums.
According to Mr. Jones, these ventures are important for the nation's boxers as they've proven to give consistent opportunities for them to grow in the sport.
Building a subcommittee from the Boxing Association which is geared towards engaging high schools so that when we can find a huge pool of young boys, young girls that when they reach up age, they can then not only come in the future, but then aspire as all of them to come onto the ring of the fight cards, and from there we will get to the point where we have a pipeline of just turning over champions.
Ray and Nephew's brand manager, Kerrion Bryan, was also in attendance at the launch.
Our partnership with the Jamaica Boxing Board is a meaningful one. We are aligned with their vision of seeing local boxers qualified for the 2028 Olympics. This goal reflects everything we believe in: discipline, ambition, and Jamaican excellence.
Now we move on to football. Reggae Boys head coach Steve McLaren has called on his players to adopt a more aggressive mindset following their 1-0 defeat to Guatemala in their CONCACAF Gold Cup Group C clash on Monday in California. The loss marked the first time Guatemala has beaten Jamaica in Gold Cup history. Despite dominating possession in parts of the match, Jamaica failed to break down a disciplined Guatemalan defense. Speaking after the match, McLaren said mentality, not just tactics, will be key moving forward. Coach McLaren is quoted saying, "At the beginning, you have to have an aggressive mentality that overcomes everything. When you're the underdog, which Guatemala felt they were after their first result, they played like underdogs and fought like mad. We have to do the same." End quote. Jamaica will aim to rebound when they face Guadeloupe on a Friday in San Jose, California. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant view.
Entrepreneurial spirit to the world.
She lauded the Chamber's efforts in bringing about its 20th Champions of Business event, which she said continues to acknowledge, develop and inspire the local business community.
The Champions of Business 2025 is more than a celebration. It is a call to action, a call for businesses to rise and lead with purpose, a call for continued partnership between the private sector and the government to drive a shared vision of sustainable growth and prosperity.
The Chamber unveiled this year's theme, which is Building Legacies, and its president, Sonji Pierre-Chase, said it sets the tone to celebrate TNT's business leaders.
We would embark on an extraordinary journey in innovation at our highly anticipated Champions of Business Gala in November of 2025. Join us in honoring the visionaries who are revolutionizing our nation's business landscape and continue to build legacies that inspire new and upcoming businesses.